Thank you. I now recognize Representative Sherman for his 5 minutes of questioning.
I want to join the ranking member in praising USAID and the shuttering of USAID and its termination of foreign assistance projects could very well harm DFC, which has relied on USAID mission staff to help generate projects. Ms. Collinson, does the shuttering of USAID cause a problem?
Yes, thanks, Congressman. I think it does. Obviously, USAID and DFC share a development mandate broadly, but they have a very different model. And whereas USAID provides complementary grant assistance, and historically the largest share of the agency's funding has supported humanitarian response and global health services, they have really played a critical role where DFC's overseas presence has been lacking. And they even set up, helped stand up DFC's mission transaction unit, which has been key to deal origination, but also sort of helping to monitor and track deals.
There's some people who were even on the committee last when we dealt with USAID who attacked USAID for having tourism development projects because they thought USAID had to be just food. They didn't realize AID stood for development, or Agency for International Development, which of course includes tourism. I've been involved for at least a couple decades in this with Mr. Mosbacher. Wrote the OPIC reauthorization bill in 2007, which the House passed and the Senate didn't, thus proving the wisdom of Nebraska in having a unicameral legislature. There were certain provisions we had there that I want to make sure that we have this time. One of those is a requirement that the private sector entities that are substantially involved certify that not only they, but everyone in their corporate family is abiding by U.S. sanctions, particularly those on Iran. Because we had a lot of pushback then that said, well, we'll have one subsidiary benefit from this program, while we'll have a different subsidiary violating American sanctions. And so we need to have whichever entity is benefiting from the program, whichever private sector entity, certify that none of their sister corporations, parent corporations, or subsidiary corporations, or nephew corporations are violating our sanctions on Iran. Would that pose a problem in making this an effective bill, Mr. Mosbach?
No, sir.
Good. We also had a provision in there that I don't know is still relevant, but it wouldn't hurt to put it in, to not fund an anti-Armenia railroad, defined as a railroad that jogs around Armenia, connecting Georgia and Azerbaijan. We had that, I believe, in the bill or in your regulations. Did that cause a problem, Mr. Mosbach?
Not to my knowledge.
Good. We also had provisions, I believe, that were in current statute dealing with companies not boycotting Israel. Was that a problem to carry out?
No, sir.
And at times, the board has had at least one member from organized labor and one member from small business. Is that currently applicable, and does it cause a problem?
I don't think that's still applicable, but I will get an answer for you because there's someone here from the agency.
Okay, and would it, back in the day when it was imposed, was there a problem?
No, there was not. I worked very well with that representative.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of talk here about going to higher mid-income countries. I believe Ms. Collison said that. Is there a way to structure the bill so that we give a preference to low-income countries, or at least low mid-income countries, without necessarily prohibiting high mid-income countries?
Yes, Congressman, and I think actually the bill passed last year by this committee sort of helped try to strike the right balance. I would probably go a little further in terms of some guardrails around high-income investments, but it did, in fact, even though it expanded DFC's ability to invest in some high-income countries, it also allowed it to do or preferenced low and lower middle income countries. And I should say, I agree with Mr. Mosbacher that the upper middle income certification as it currently stands is not as workable as it needs to be.
I would ask you to submit some ideas, and Mr. Mosbacher and Mr. Yoho submit ideas on how we can tighten that language. And I yield back.